Hey everyone, Sparks back with another Goddess Victory Nikke video. I just reviewed the kit for Cinderella, and now it's time to talk about Grave, which I'm also super hyped for. She's one of my favorite characters. So Cinderella, honestly, this second anniversary is just like hitting all the marks for me. Grave is super cool in the story, very mysterious, although we recently got to learn more about her, and she kind of gives me A2 vibes, and her kit totally goes with that too. And for those of you that don't know, I'm a big A2 fan. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into her skills. She is a burst 2 support with an assault rifle code fire, ammo capacity of 60, that's pretty standard, reload time of 2 seconds, deals 70% of attack as damage, and then 200% attack as damage to cores. So all that is very normal. What is not super normal are her abilities. And normally I go through these in order. I would read like skill 1 explain it, skill 2 and explain it, burst, and so on. We're going to reverse that because basically her skills don't make any sense if you don't know what her burst does. So let's start there. It's still going to be a little bit confusing. It's a bit of a wall of text, but just a lot of referential things to other terms and her other skills. So, all right. Her burst is only a 20-second cooldown. This is crucial. If she was not a 20-second cooldown, that would have been extremely unfortunate. That would have just, made her vastly less usable as a burst 2. But good news. So it's called Plot Spoiler. I won't explain anything more about her. Hopefully I didn't spoil the plot for any new players already. But anyway, she's a cool character. Keep pushing campaign. So affects self. Prediction. So this is like a status effect or like a buff she's getting herself. So affects self, prediction. Current HP goes down 1% every 1 second and lasts for 10 seconds. Okay, so this is one of the things mechanically that really reminds me of A2 because her burst starts consuming her own HP in exchange for a bunch of crazy buffs. And that's kind of what we got going on here with Grave as well. So for 10 seconds, she's going to lose 1% HP every second. Honestly, not a huge deal unless she's already taking massive damage. And it says grants unlimited ammunition for 10 seconds. So for that entire time, she never has to reload. So that's already looking really good. And then gains Pierce for 10 seconds. Pierce is one of the best abilities in the game. That's amazing. Unlimited ammo of Pierce. I like it. And Pierce damage goes up by 52% for those same 10 seconds. So that's insane, especially with getting like multi-hits on the cores of enemies. If the shot goes through like the core and the body, that's amazing. And then crit rate goes up by 85% for 10 seconds. Is this finally where crit becomes a thing? I don't know. I mean, crit has never been in a great place in the damage formula in Nikke, but 85% crit rate is kind of nuts. Even with just very small crit buffs, that's easy to get that to 100%. And then if you're just critting all the time, that's pretty good. Even though crit is not a huge buff, if you're just always doing crit, that's could get really, really insane. So maybe getting a few crit lines on her overload gear would actually be good, or pairing her with our girl Volume for a cooldown reduction and getting crit. I don't know. I mean, I'm a little hesitant to say that, like, crit is now like the best thing ever, because it's probably not. But this is one of the best crit effects I think we've seen in the game, just because it's so high. So you're like almost always going to get a crit rate, or almost always going to get a critical attack. Okay, it does more though. Also affects all allies attack damage up 48% for 10 seconds. Attack damage up is amazing. That's all the way at the end of the damage formula, one of the best buffs we could have. And 48%, you're just going to be dealing basically 50% more damage with your whole team with every one of your normal attacks. So cool, that's really good. Keep in mind, she's only a burst 2, guys. Only a burst 2. Also, Pierce damage goes up 39% on top of that attack damage. And just a little sneak peek in her next skill, she gives the team Pierce as well, which is nuts. So massive, massive damage from her and everybody. Max ammunition capacity goes up 3 rounds for 10 seconds. That's like almost like not even like here nor there compare or to the rest of the things that it does. But cool. Okay, so now let's take a look at her skills, because these are all going to be referencing this like prediction status and like buffs that she gives herself from the burst. So right away it says activates when prediction status ends. So basically when the full burst ends after 10 seconds, this skill 1 is going to trigger. So it removes 100% of bullets. Okay, so whatever unlimited ammo she have goes away. So she gets her normal clip of 60 ammo. And then heat emission. So this is a new status effect she gives herself. Reload goes down, reload ratio down 50% and removes heat emission under certain conditions. So heat emission is going to be another thing that comes up later on in her skill kits. Like I said, we got a lot of effects here. So basically, it's just like clearing other buffs. Okay, so she does a lot more that she actually does with the skill rather. Activates only when in heat emission status. Okay, so affects self, recovers 2% of final max HP every 1 second continuously. So all that HP that she drained from her burst, she's going to get back, but at double the rate. So 2% of HP she's restoring rather than the 1% she removed. So this is really good. If anything, she's just going to be recovering more than actually losing health. Also activates only when in heat emission status. Affects all allies. Burst gauge fill speed goes up 38% continuously. This is really good. Now keep in mind, just want to make this clear, this is different than cooldown reduction. You know, that lowers the time, the time limit on when you can go into full burst. This increases the rate that you get that gauge up to the ability to do full burst. But you could potentially still be sitting there waiting for the timer to run out unless you also have cooldown reduction. But that's just really, really good, because as an assault rifle, typically that would be very, very bad burst gauge generation, but having that go up by 38% is going to be a lot better. And then pierce damage goes up by 48% continuously. So all allies pierce damage goes up 48% continuously. This is even more pierce damage than her burst was giving. Now again, you know, you're going to need to pair her with other Pierce units, but there are so many great Pierce units. I mean, you've got Asuka, you got Alice, you got Snow White, you got Red Hood. I think, you know, a lot of people are probably going to try and pair her with Asuka. It just makes sense. But there are so many good Pierce options. That is a fantastic buff. Okay, so now let's take a look at her skill 2. It's called Overheat. Now, this is where we're going to get into these things from her skill 1, where it said activates when in heat emission status. So it says activates after landing 15 normal attacks, affects self, overheat, attack goes up 15%, and then is removed upon reloading to max ammunition. Okay, so she gets a 15% attack buff, and then at the end of her clip, it'll go away. And then she'll have to build it back again after 15 normal attacks. So basically, every 45 attacks, she's going to get this buff. And then activates when normal attack hits after prediction status takes effect. Remember, prediction status is everything she gets from that burst skill. And it says affects self. Changes according to the number of hits. Previous effects trigger repeatedly. So we've seen other units. The OG example is Dola, our burst 2 unit. So basically every time this happens, the first listed skill will go off, and then the first and the second, and then the first and second and the third, and so on. So it says activates when normal attack hits in prediction status. So when she has her burst effects, if she hits 30 times, in prediction and overheat status. Overheat 2, attack goes up 20% continuously. We're just stacking attack buffs on attack buffs. It's getting crazy. And then after she hits 60 times, it will win in prediction and overheat 2 status. Overheat 3 goes up. Attack damage goes up 30% continuously. So like I said, first it's going to be like that 20%, and then it will be the 20% and the 30%. They're going to like stack on top of each other. But this is all based off of having the buff from her burst skill. So, basically every time she bursts, she's also going to use her skill 2. And then when her burst ends, skill 1 will come in to sort of like wipe all that stuff clean. And then she will go into recovery mode, healing herself and increasing that burst fill status and pierce damage to help you get into the burst again. And it's going to keep cycling through those over and over and over. She looks like a powerhouse. That's going to be a lot of damage. Now, keep in mind, she is a supporter, so these like base attack buffs are a little bit lower than if she was a attacker. But that she has so much of them, it's still just massive offensive buffs, and it looks like she is going to be pierce buffing queen, dealing tons of damage herself, as well as giving huge buffs to your other pierce units. She looks very, very strong. She did not disappoint. Kit has a lot going on. Hopefully I explained that clearly. I'm definitely going to be pulling for her. I don't know, do I go for Max Limit Break Cinderella or Grave? Now, Grave, I believe, doesn't come until the second week of anniversary, so, the temptation will definitely be to go for Max Limit Break Cinderella right away. She's still the main, like, flagship, like, exciting unit, so I'll probably go for her anyway. But Grave looks amazing. Let me know what your plans are for Grave, or if you have any questions about her. And yeah, I think we will now go into a skill kit overview for Rapunzel, which is our free handout unit that everybody's going to get. Free Pilgrim, guys, is pretty cool. Just like we got with Small White before, new players rejoice. This is going to really help you out, particularly with your Pilgrim Tribe Tower. But anyway, we'll see if Rapunzel is worth using as an actual strong high tier unit. I'll catch you guys over there in the next video.